This is the CJ Silas Show. She's been talking sports for over half her life. You'll hear big-name guests and all the hot topics. Her roller derby sisters call her Dodge Her Blue. CJ's proud of her California roots and time in New York. Born and raised in L.A., college at USC and Syracuse University. She's not afraid to share her opinions with you. And, like it or not, she wants to be the change. Ladies and gentlemen, all ears and no mask required. Here she is, CJ Silas.
Whoa, 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 welcome in. Hello, whoa, ho, ho, hey, hey, hey. Live and direct from the ESPN Radio 1280 AM and FM 101.7 studios of The Ticket in San Luis Obispo, California. This is the CJ Silas Show. There are times when we are a scrambling and a rambling and a fumbling and a jumbling as the mic is turning on. Oh, goodness. We've got a guest in studio. Everyone's all freaked out. They're sanitizing everything. We've got masks. We're all wearing plastic bodysuits because we've got, I think it could be, maybe our first in-studio guest since the pandemic. I have a feeling we've had a couple. Maybe Rolf can remember. It was before your time, Gabe. There was a time before you came back from home that we had a couple guests in studio. But since March of 2020, I'm thinking, which is 18 months ago. Wait, 20 months ago, we've had maybe 3 guests, less than 5. No matter what, in the studio. And we had, let's see, Coast Nutra came in the studio, Hector Escalante, Joy Shell Beach, Chelsea, and I think John Smith might have come in right at the beginning of the pandemic when it all was going down for Black History Month.
Oh, yeah.
I think he did because he told us the story about when he got pulled over when he first moved here. And he was literally here less than a week and he got pulled over for no reason in San Luis Obispo when he told this story on the air, which was actually quite cool and transparent of him to do that. It was. So, you know what? It wasn't as close to March. Yeah, so we've maybe 3. So Joy Shell Beach, Chelsea, Coast Nutra, Hector Escalante, and Coach Smith. So he's doing a return visit. And I got an email. I thought he was going to just obviously call me. He says, no, he's coming in studio. And I'm like, hey, I got a guest. So everyone's dressed up. We all have our masks on. Well, I take mine off when I turn on the mic. But we're all literally over sanitized. Like you could probably eat off the floor in this studio right now after what we've done because we're having a guest in the studio. So that's the big thing tonight on the show is we have someone in the office. Can I have some of that sanitizer? Once in a while, you want YouTube. You want live TV, live radio, but not. That's me rubbing my hands. I had a great idea for the contest this month. It just came to me, Gabe, and you're one of the people in charge of the contest because this is what I'm going to do. The Wednesday night before Thanksgiving, we're going to do our Thanksgiving list. Things we have been thankful for in sports in 2021. If you've already gotten back home, I want you to email me. I want to do everyone's list on the staff. But that's what we're doing for our contest. Best Thanksgiving list wins the next prize on Instagram. So you and Rachel will take care of that over the next couple weeks. If you want to get into the contest, go to our Instagram page. There will be some sort of explanation on the picture of Jose from last week. Right, Gabe? And it's going to be, I remember doing this. This is so crazy. I called into the Jim Rome show once in my life. I did. He was still, I think he was still at Extra Sports 690. I hadn't met him yet because I met him later when I worked on his TV show called Talk 2. I hadn't met him yet, but I was working my way into Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. I was working for the regional telecast with John Miller and Joe Morgan at the time, a long time ago. And I was living in LA. And I was bartending because it wasn't enough money. During the week, I didn't work that much. So I literally would work out and then I would lay on the deck on the top of the townhouse from 12 to 3 or 9 to 12 to listen to Jim Rome from Extra Sports 690. And I called in once. And I called in with my Thanksgiving list. Things that I was thankful for that year. And I actually thought I did a pretty good job. I didn't know that I was going to be at talk shows because at the time I was still working a little bit in television. I wasn't really sure where. It was a long time ago. I think I was like 27. So it was a long time ago. And I'm bringing that back because we haven't done it on the CJ Silas Show. All you have to do is go to the Instagram page and give me your top 3 to 5 lists of things you're thankful for in sports in 2021. It's probably going to be a little emotional for some people this year because so much was gone in 2020 that we might feel a little bit more emotional when we do our list. The night before Thanksgiving, we'll be live. I don't know who will be here. It might just be me. Who knows? And I'm going to do my list, and I'm going to do more than 3. And maybe because it's going to be a tough time to have... Oh, no, you know who's going to be on that night is Rafael Esparza, because we're going to break down the NFL games for that Thursday. Crazy Rafael. The odds maker, right? The head odds maker at MyBookie. He's going to be on that night, but no one else. I'm not going to ask anyone else on the night before Thanksgiving. Next week, I can't believe Thanksgiving's in 2 weeks. Is that true? Is today the 10th? Today's my niece Ariana's birthday. Happy birthday to you. She doesn't listen to me. She goes to Wesleyan. She lives on the East Coast, but whatever. Next week, Qadri Ismail. He's on the broadcast crew for the Baltimore Ravens. He runs the Missile Academy outside of Baltimore. He works with elite athletes. He's amazing. He played football and ran track at Syracuse with me. That's how we've been buddies forever. He played for the Packers. Let me see if I can remember them all. Packers, Colts, Dolphins, Vikings, and Ravens. And he won a championship with the Ravens. I hope I got them all. I think I did. He's going to be on the show next week. Qadri Ismail. His brother, Rocket Ismail, he would even admit was a little better than him. And then they have a third little brother, and I forgot his name. But they grew up in Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. And Ragib went to Notre Dame. Qadri went to Syracuse. And he also ran track. That's how I knew we were on the track team together. He's going to be on the show next week, and he is awesome. He'll be on next week. Rex Stevens might be sitting in with me next week from the Slow Wellness Center just because he was supposed to come in for the 500th show, and then one of his kids had a football game that got postponed. Parenting. I think he's going to be here next week. And then the night of Thanksgiving weekend, we're going big on the Thanksgiving list. I might get emotional. I'm just saying. Tonight on the show, Coach John Smith from your Cal Poly Mustangs to talk a little bit about college basketball. Not just college basketball, but how the world has changed, how life has changed, and how COVID has changed the way all coaches plan and prep for their season. Did anybody notice the NBA started? You would only notice the NBA started if you're a fan of the Golden State Warriors, the New Orleans Pelicans, the Houston Rockets, or the Detroit Pistons. Do you know why I mentioned those 4? Well, I'll tell you. You don't have to guess. It's my job to tell you. The Pistons, the Rockets, and the Pelicans all have 1 win apiece. So if you're a fan of those teams, you pretty much know what's going on because your team is pretty bad. Pelicans are 1-10, Rockets 1-9, Pistons 1-8, and by the way, Houston and Detroit playing tonight. But if you're a fan of the Golden State Warriors, who everybody was bashing last year because they didn't do so well, remember they had a lot of hurt guys, they're 9-1. Steph Curry had 50 points, 10 assists, 7 rebounds, 9 3-pointers in the win over Atlanta, 127-113. They host Minnesota tonight. If you're a fan of the Lakers, you also know what's going on because LeBron is out again. This time it could be for about a month with an abdominal strain. Anthony Davis has been hurt with his thumb strain. He's been sick. But he had 32 points, 12 rebounds in the win over Charlotte. Russell Westbrook, it's so weird. It's so weird today when I didn't see the game. It's so weird today when I was reading the game stories because I always go through all the game stories in the NBA for every sport. That's what I do. I read box scores. It's part of my job. To see Russell Westbrook under LA Lakers roster and then Carmelo Anthony. It hasn't even hit me that Carmelo Anthony, A, is still in the league because last year when he played for Portland, I have a cousin who loves the Trailblazers. And, he's not going to do much. And actually, Carmelo had a really, really good year. And he actually surprised people when he played for the Blazers. Russell Westbrook, yeah, he's a Laker. 17 points, 14 assists, 12 rebounds. And Melo, oh my gosh. I love that he's a Laker, and I love that he's doing better, and I love that he's matured. 29 points off the bench. All right, NBA started, folks. If you haven't noticed, I have. Also, if you haven't noticed, the NFL's at the midway point, and next week is an all-NFL show. I mean, mostly NFL. Let's be real. With Qadri on the show, we might talk a little bit about coming out of the pandemic and staying healthy and fit, mind and body, if Rex Stevens does come in. Because if you remember, Yeah, the show's going to be 10 years old in March. There was a time I've got a party planned. I forgot to tell you. I created a party. There's going to be a party, and 10 listeners are coming. A VIP party the week of the 10-year anniversary at a winery with catering and everything. I'm splurging. We're doing it. So even interns that leave, come back, all the interns that have ever worked for the show are involved. Of course, I went on a tangent just now. But I want you to know, 10 listeners are coming. How did I get to that? Oh, during the 10 years, there was a time when Rex Stevens was on a show right before me called Living the Run. Him and Olympian Paul Tarek. And before that, Ryan Ferran did the show Living the Run. He's a news TV guy. I think he's in Arizona. Look up where I think Ryan Ferran's still doing. He was at KSBY. So many guys from KSBY. Andrew Masuda. He left and then he went to work at Hancock and now he's at UC Santa Barbara. My point is, Rex Stevens knows sports. And he knows health, and he knows fitness. He's an athlete. He's been in sports his whole life. He runs the Slow Wellness Center and owns it with his wife, Molly, and a couple other partners. Hopefully, if everything goes well, he'll be on the show with me next week. He knows radio because he used to do a show. And every year on his birthday, he does whatever number he's turning, something crazy. It's like I think one year he did 4,200 burpees. I don't know what the year he turned for. He does crazy stuff on his birthday. Hopefully he'll be in the studio next week. Yes, we are celebrating. Not only are we having a big Best of the CJ Silas show in January, but we're doing a huge in-studio live party. I think it will be Wednesday, March 30th. I think if I have my calendar in front of me, the actual 10-year anniversary is March 31st. But I think March 31st falls on maybe a Thursday. So the party in studio will be on Wednesday the 30th. The big party where 10 listeners get to come to a private VIP party at a winery in San Luis Obispo, fully catered, is Monday, March 28th. It is a week, and we're actually, you know what? It's not a CJ Silas show party. It's Gabe's birthday party with my intern. Are you going to be 21? 23? Oh, good. Are you going to be able to drink? Oh, you can drink now. Who can't drink on the show? Angeliki can't drink, right? She's not 21. Who else isn't 21 yet? Lauren, and definitely the new kid. We're not saying his name on. He isn't. We can't say your name on the show if you haven't done your time, if you know what I mean. I can't believe I'm already thinking about the 10-year anniversary. I got to get through the show tonight. I got to get ready. I got a big time John Smith on the show. Ay. And that 500th show thing, we're not really sure. We're not really sure when the 500th show was. We just know it was in October. Black History on the CJ Silas continuing every week, maybe forever. Thank you to AJ Panetta for helping me with the research on this. Benjamin Banneker, born November 9th, 1731. Wow, AJ went back far for this one. He was a free African-American almanac author, surveyor, landowner, and farmer who had knowledge of mathematics and natural history. He had little or no formal education, largely self-taught. He became known for assisting Major Andrew Elliott in a survey that established the original borders of the District of Columbia, the federal capital of the United States. Banneker's knowledge of astronomy helped him author a commercially successful series of almanacs. He corresponded with Thomas Jefferson on the topics of slavery and racial equality. Jefferson having earlier drafted the United States Declaration of Independence. I can't believe that this guy was alive in the 1700s and he started fighting the fight for racial justice and equity, and it's 2021 and we're still fighting. It just makes me sick. Back to Black History. He was born in 1731. The guy's been dead for 300 years? Almost 300 years, and we're still fighting the same fight about racial equality? Come on. Although a fire on the day of his funeral destroyed many of his papers and belongings, one of his journals and several of his remaining artifacts are available for public viewing. Benjamin Banneker. I'm going to say that is in Black History Month. That is our furthest back we've gone as we celebrate black and brown people on the CJ Silas show from now until the show retires, because we wasted years not. And it's time that somebody recognizes that there are a lot of successful, incredible humans in sports, in civil rights, in entertainment, in education that did not get their due diligence and respect. So that's why we're doing it. Alice Coachman, born November 9th, 1923, specialized in the high jump, the first black woman to win an Olympic gold medal. Her first opportunity to compete on a global stage was the 1948 Olympics in London. She qualified for the U.S. Olympic team with a high jump of 5 feet 4 inches, breaking the previous record, 16-year-old record, by 3/4 of an inch. She was the only American woman to win an Olympic gold medal in athletics in 1948. Her medal was presented by King George VI. Coachman's athletic career ended when she was only 24. Herb Carnegie, born November 8th, 1919, a Canadian ice hockey player from Jamaica. After his professional hockey career was over, he became a successful businessman working in the investment industry. In 1954, he founded one of Canada's first hockey schools, Future Aces. Through his work in training young hockey players, Carnegie became a member of both the Order of Ontario and the country's highest civilian award, the Order of Canada. His hockey career was recognized when he was inducted into Canada's Sports Hall of Fame in 2001 and in 2014 to the Ontario Sports Hall of Fame. As a black man playing hockey in the 40s and 50s, Carnegie endured his share of racism. Herb Carnegie. We will continue to celebrate Black history on the CJ Silas Show for as long as we have people to recognize, and it's going to be a while. I'm just saying. Mike Krzyzewski is officially retiring, right? So he's doing a farewell tour. The reason I think of him is because college basketball season has officially begun. And, you know, when guys retire in the NBA, every city, every team does something amazing for him. The guy who's retiring, they get cars, they get big, expensive gifts, they get fanfare, they get lots of fun, crazy stuff in the gyms and the stadiums. Coach K's farewell tour started off on a high note with a win against Kentucky. Kentucky, number 11 in the country. It's so crazy to me that he's retiring. 41 seasons at Duke. He's a Naismith Hall of Fame coach, a 5-time national champion. He's also a 12-time Final Four participant and has built a dynasty. It will never happen again. No program in the history of the game will match it. No coach in Division I men's basketball has won more games than Coach K, 1,170. He's got a record of 1,170 and 361 in 46 years. In 41 seasons at Duke, over 1,000 wins. It's just incredible what this guy's done. 5 national champions, 6 gold medals as head coach of the U.S. men's national team, 9 national players of the year, 6 national defensive players of the year, 10 consecutive top 10 AP poll finishes, 12 national coach of the year honors, 12 Final Fours, 12 ACC regular season championships, 15 ACC tournament championships, most in league history, 28 NBA lottery picks, most in draft history, 35 NCAA tournament bids, most by any one coach, 37 All-Americans, 51 honors, 67 ACC tournament wins, most in league history, 68 NBA draft picks, including 42 first-rounders, 97 NCAA tournament wins, most in the history of the NCAA. His teams were ranked number 1, 126 weeks in the AP poll, most by any coach in poll history. I mean, it's on and on. On and on. That's it. I'm just saying, it's huge. Oh, goodness. He's going to be missed. He had 4 games in 4 days to win the AACC tournament in 2017. From 1993 to 2003, Duke won a league record 5 straight ACC tournament champions. I mean, I can just go on and on and on. He took Duke to the NCAA tournament 24 straight years, the longest streak in NCAA history, passing Dean Smith. If you don't like Duke, that's okay. There is no possible way that you can look at a guy like Mike Krzyzewski and have anything but respect for him. I'm curious what he's going to do next. He's probably got enough money. He's built a dynasty. Do you think he'll go into TV? Will he retire from basketball completely? He did speak earlier in the year when he decided he was going to retire. I think he made the announcement in June. Oh my gosh. He's retiring for his family. More time. Sheesh. It's pretty exciting. And this college basketball season will have a lot of focus on him and what he's done. I guess CelebrityNetWorth.com says he's worth $45 million. I don't know. Pretty cool. I respect him. I'm not a huge Duke fan. It just really isn't my jam because I went to Syracuse. But I still respect what he's done, what he did, and who he is for the game of basketball. And he really, really deserves all the accolades that he has put together. Just incredible. It is the CJ Silas Show, continuing our contest until we really run out of prizes. Guys, I have 2 football tickets this weekend for Cal Poly. If you want these 2 tickets for Cal Poly at home this weekend, I've got 2 tickets. All you have to do is call us 805-595-3776. 805-595-3776. You know what we're going to do? I just saw John Smith walk into the building. There's nothing more I can say that's more important except that he's going to be on the show, and we want to talk to him as long as we can. It's so cool to have him in studio. I do want to thank my partners on the CJ Silas Show, dermatologist Dr. Brad Kurgis, dentist Dr. Daniel Lapidus and Larry Ackerman, the Slow Wellness Center, the Avila Bay Athletic Club and Spa, Michael Moore Sports Recovery, Joy, Shell Beach, Gymnazo, and California Fresh Markets, where I shop in Pismo Beach on 5 Cities Drive. So excited! John Smith gracing us in studio. We're going to talk Cal Poly basketball. That's coming up. You're listening to the CJ Silas Show on ESPN Radio 1280 AM and FM 101.7, The Ticket.
Welcome back to the CJ Silas Show. From her perch atop Madonna Mountain, let's hear it for CJ Silas.
Welcome back to the CJ Silas Show. This segment is brought to you by dentist Dr. Daniel Lapidus and Larry Ackerman. They love Cal Poly. They love everything about Cal Poly. They've been with the CJ Silas Show almost 10 years. We're turning 10 years old in March of 2022. Pretty exciting. One of my favorites. And he's only been here like 2.5 years, but he's still one of my favorites because he's gracious and he shows up. And I was one of the first places that he arrived when he came to San Luis Obispo. He's the head coach of the Cal Poly Mustangs. John Smith, welcome.
Hi, CJ. Good to see you.
Good to see you. I think you were my first and one of my only guests during the pandemic. I think you did come in during Black History when I started celebrating Black History and offering my mic to people and talking about everything.
Right.
I think you came in studio. We were trying to figure out, it was you and maybe one partner, and then, Coast Nutra, yeah. Hector Escalante. So thank you.
You're welcome.
You look a little bit more relaxed than you did the last time I saw you.
Yeah, I would say so. A lot of that has to do with my wife who's finally moved up here. So I finally have my whole family here now. Yeah.
How long did it take for her to get here?
2 years. 2 years.
So she was commuting up to visit, and you were in the off season going, oh my gosh.
Yeah. It was a pain, but she settles me down and she grounds me, and it's great having her here.
I find that distance makes the heart grow fonder. It's a cliche.
It's true.
As long as you don't fight on the phone while you're apart,
right?
It does kind of keep it a little bit fresh, even if you've been together, because you've been together over 30 years, right?
Yeah, 25 married, and then 32 as friends and everything. But yeah, you're exactly right. We started calling each other boyfriend and girlfriend.
Oh, come on. That's so cool.
Yeah.
You also look relaxed because last year when I saw you, we were in the middle of a global pandemic, which we still are.
Yeah.
But things are getting better with the vaccines and people being thoughtful and just all the changes and the protocols.
Right.
Prepping for this season.
Yeah.
As opposed to prepping for last season, what's the one that gives you the most relief compared to last year?
Well, the fact that we were just talking out there, our freshmen are now sophomores, and they had the proper preparation for a college season. Last year they didn't have a clue of how to guard a ball screen, the spacing that needs to take place on the offensive side, nothing, because we couldn't practice, only two to a basket, you couldn't share a basketball,
couldn't get too close to each other.
Right. So this year, during they've had a phenomenal off season, and they're ready to take the next step, but there's still a ways to go.
And I noticed that you have quite a few transfers this year. You've got 2 grad students, which means some more maturity.
Right.
And then you've got 2 other kids.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about why you've got 4 kids coming in from other schools. That doesn't happen very often, right?
Right. The NCAA changed the rules and allowed us to have kids transfer and be eligible right away. So we thought it would be a perfect opportunity for us, being so young, to infuse them with some older guys, and they needed it. And we were fortunate to get some great transfers. Jacob Davison, grad transfer from Eastern Washington, just a phenomenal kid, but even a better basketball player. I mean, he is a phenomenal basketball player. He just knows how to play, very mature. And then Trayvon Taylor's another kid we got from University of Wyoming and James Madison. He is a junior, so we'll have him for 2 years, and he's a grown man.
Nice.
So it was much needed for the locker room, but more so for where we're going with this program.
He's the head coach of the Cal Poly Mustangs in his 3rd season. We're calling it a 3rd season, even though it was partially not a full season, but we're giving him 3 because he's amazing, and we want to do that. And you've got a question about the transfer. When you're recruiting, because you've been recruiting since you were at Fullerton, you know how to recruit.
Right.
Do you look for grad students? Because it seems like it's a different dynamic when you're getting kids that have already graduated.
Yeah, it is. As we assessed the end of the year, we knew we were going to lose a couple players, which that's the nature of the business right now. So throughout the year, our staff, they pay attention to what's called the transfer portal, right? And kids put themselves in the portal throughout the year. Right now, it's already at 78 kids.
Wow. Wait, right now?
Right now.
Aren't we in the first week of the season?
Yeah. And last year it got up to, I want to say, it was ridiculous, almost 1,000 kids last year.
And when you're in the transfer portal, you can't play, right?
No.
Oh, so you're just sitting there.
You're just sitting there, hoping.
And your team's, he doesn't want to be here, so doesn't come to practice. Do they still keep their scholarship?
If they transfer this early, some don't.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
They just go in the portal, and if you have a scholarship at the end of the semester, you can, grab them and try and get them, for the next semester eligible to go to school and start practicing with the team, but they can't play until the following year. So
I picture a long hallway like from Star Wars, this portal.
Yeah.
Where they push a button and then they zoom to the other end to the other school. You kind of hope it's that way, but it's not.
No.
He's the head coach of the Cal Poly Mustangs. They are officially 1-0 now after beating Cal State LA, which was an exhibition game, and then Westcliff. A couple things. You also have a new assistant coach. I looked this guy up. This guy is legit.
Yes.
Keith Berard. You just got him literally a few months ago. He was 10 years at Houston Baptist, coached at Texas Southern, went to the NCAA tournament, played at Southern Utah. How did you find this guy? Did you know him?
I've known him for a long time.
Really?
And it's funny, like, he's the perfect fit for me and what we're looking for. And he and I have known each other since 99, 2000. When I was at CSI, College of Southern Idaho, as assistant coach, he was assistant coach at Eastern Utah in Price, Utah. So we played against each other, and we just stayed in contact for 20-some-odd years. And he's such a genuine dude, just a great guy and a hard worker. His wife is a school teacher. She was able to come out here and get a job as a teacher, and everything just fell into place. And the guys love him, and he's just a perfect fit for us.
When you bring someone like that in with all that experience, is there a chance that they just come here for a year or two and then go on to be a head coach, or do you behind the scenes have an agreement like, hey, I need you to stay here with me while I'm here? How does that go down?
Well, he and I have such a great relationship. I told him, he's a professional assistant coach, right? He understands that role, but he does have aspirations of becoming a head coach, just like I did when I moved to Fullerton as an assistant coach. And I told him I would help him as much as I can and prepare him, to be in that seat. And I do that with all my assistants, David Hansen and Justin Downer as well. So just like Dedrick Taylor did it for myself and Danny Sprinkle, who is a head coach at Montana State now. It is our job to prepare our assistants to become head coaches.
And you can still have a great time for the short time you have.
Right.
And you know that as a head coach, that you might lose guys.
Yes.
It's just part of the process.
No doubt. Mm-hmm.
He's the head coach of the Cal Poly Mustangs, John Smith. A question about COVID protocols. We watched Cal Poly football. It doesn't matter how they did. We watched them get in almost a full season. I mean, they're doing a pretty good job. Mm-hmm. You look around the area, people are doing the right thing with COVID protocols. How are you learning from a situation like that in the same school, different department, keeping the kids healthy, safe, and having enough numbers on the court?
Right. Well, first and foremost, kudos goes out and to our administration, our president Armstrong and Keith Humphreys and all the protocols that they put in place before the year even started. Every athlete had to be vaccinated before they came back to campus. There was a little struggle with some.
We all knew that.
And we know. But, to put that in place, and then, we were being tested twice a week. So they've done everything they can to make sure that we're safe and give us this opportunity to have a normal season. And, we've just been following whatever they've been asking us to do. And so far, so good, knock on wood.
Right.
That we haven't had any hiccups.
Goodness. And what about full gyms? A lot of fans in the stands.
Yes, last night was phenomenal.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was great seeing it.
Oh, wow.
My first year, there's a picture that's, I think it's my screensaver on Twitter or Facebook, one of those. And there's a
my
little...
kid's going to check. Look, right away, Gabe's, he's going to find it. Find it, Gabe, find it.
There's a little kid that always comes to our game, and he's just a bundle of joy, and he waits there for me to slap five with me, and he's wearing his glasses, and he just has the biggest smile, and I saw him again for the first time last night.
Oh.
And we just embraced each other again, and it was like we never missed a beat. But that's what you live it. You do it for, and you miss having that interaction with the crowd and the community, especially this community. They do a great job of supporting us.
I remember sitting at Mott last year, and I looked down, and I was one of 8 people in the building. I was very lucky to be there with one of my interns. And even the bench was separated. The guys were sitting 10 feet apart. You didn't even have a bench where guys sat next to each other.
Right.
And you could hear everything that was said at the bench. Everything that coach said, which was interesting for someone like me that's never seen that except when I've sat on the court.
Right.
But it was just so different. And then to have a building full, the energy, how it shifts. I was at a concert, my first one since the pandemic, 2 weeks ago at Vina Robles. And the lead singer looked out at the audience for a minute, and he didn't say anything. And there was like this little uncomfortable, like maybe 4 seconds. And he says, I am never going to take this for granted again.
Right.
That's what he said. He said, you don't know how much joy I have seeing you out. And it wasn't even full. It was half full because everything, they're being safe. But to see a performer, and basketball players are still performers there in front of a crowd, have that reaction. I can only imagine a 19 or a 20-year-old kid who's used to playing in front of a crowd coming back to that crowd. It's got to energize everybody.
Oh, definitely. It was a different feeling.
Oh, here's the picture.
There it is.
Oh, do you know his name, this kid?
Oh, my son does.
He's so cute.
I totally forgot his name.
Your first year? So he's probably 2 years older now.
Yeah.
And this is, where did you find this picture, guys? On Twitter. Twitter, okay.
Yeah.
So your son has met him, so you don't know his name yet, which is also kind of cool.
No, I meet so many people here.
It's okay. No one's judging. I think it's cool.
But my son, that was his senior year.
Right,
and so
when he played here.
At the end of the year, my son gave him his jersey and autographed it for him and his shoes. And my son was on the bench with me last night, and he remembered Jamal, and
that's so
it was
cool.
just a great feeling. It was awesome.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
Welcome back to that.
Yes.
Amen.
Yeah.
I hope you never have to do that again.
Me
Awful.
either.
Awful.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, I was lonely with my interns not allowed to come here. There's only 3 of them, and I don't even really like them very much. Just kidding, guys. You know how much I love you. It is the CJ Silas Show. Head coach of the Cal Poly Mustangs, John Smith, joining us. You can find him at Mustang Coach 14. That's where you can find the picture of him and the little man. So cool, so cute. Some good news also that I want to talk about. Louisville women's basketball is coming here to play the Mustangs on the 23rd of November. And Kiana,
Yes.
your daughter, is one of the stars on that team.
Yes.
And that's going to be super cool. How did that come down?
So her head coach and Faith are just two of the best human beings in the world.
I agree. I agree about Faith.
For Faith to take that game on, they're the number 6 ranked team in the
Louisville?
country. Right?
Yeah.
You know, and so Kiana's coach, you know, the Power 5 schools, they pay us to come play them. Like we're going to play UCLA, right? And they're paying us. He's paying Cal Poly and bringing the team out here. I kid you not.
And that's okay. I just got the chills.
Yeah, yeah. And he's
Oh
like,
my
I wanted
gosh.
you to have a chance to see her your
Shut
senior
up.
year.
That is so cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That
Yeah.
makes me almost want to cry a little.
Yeah.
You know, we look at sports. It's so sometimes with social media, there's so much negativity.
Yeah.
Especially at the pro level, even at the college level, with the
Right.
hate and the trolls. And then you hear stories like that.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're younger than me, but when we started in this business,
Yeah.
it was so much more pure and loving because
No
we
doubt.
didn't have social media.
No doubt.
And I don't use it as much. I'm very lucky that other women in the business have a lot more difficulty on those platforms than I do. Thank goodness.
Right.
But I wish for the younger people in sports that they could do it the way we did with so much more love and positivity because it's so negative. And the little boy on the sideline, and then the story about Louisville, it's really cool, Coach.
Yeah. It's awesome. And, you know, our schedule got messed up because we scheduled our game, a tournament, and it was supposed to be the week before Kiana and them got here. They switched it to the same week. But fortunately for us, we play Monday and Wednesday in Irvine, and they play here on Tuesday. So after my game Monday,
you're gonna drive up.
I'm driving up.
And then you go back down.
And I'm going right back down.
Of course you will.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my goodness. And all your kids are athletes.
Yeah. My youngest daughter stopped playing
But
now, but she was an athlete too.
All
she probably
basketball?
all basketball.
Really?
She probably would have been the best shooter out of all of them.
Are you serious?
No, I kid you not.
And she just didn't have the love, or?
Kind of both. She
Yeah.
had a lot of injuries
Okay.
that kind of
Okay.
stunted her, and then coming behind Kiana's coattails, she hated the comparisons, so she stopped playing for a little bit.
Yeah.
But you know, she still finished out her high school career and made all league.
That's cool.
So she's good.
And she's at San Diego State.
She's at San Diego State.
She's in
yes.
California. Everybody's near you. Well, Louisville's not very near you, but she's coming. You'll see her.
Yeah.
Have you gotten it all to go and see Kiana at a road game at all?
Yes.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Obviously, I went to the Final Four, and they made it to the Elite Eight last year. Went to that, and then I was able to go to 2 games last year, but because of the pandemic,
Crazy.
it wasn't the same.
No way.
Because where they played, they sell out for a women's game. It's
Yeah.
like 13,000.
Yeah, shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah.
Like super dangerous, too
Yeah.
close together.
Right.
I don't know if I'd want to be there.
Yeah.
Ah, what a relief.
Yeah.
How about your own well-being, your own frame of mind, the way you feel in your own skin now after going through a pandemic as a head coach? How has it changed your perspective?
Oh, it's changed it a lot. You know, it's a good question because I had this conversation with a fellow coaching friend of mine, and just like we were talking about taking things for granted, you know, you don't realize just how special this profession is and the impact that we can have and the platform that we have, and you can't take it for granted. Even though, you know, the pandemic caused it to be a struggle last year, you still had an opportunity to change lives and impact people on a daily, and you got to focus on those things, and that's what I try and do. So my well-being my mentals are great, and you know, I'm just fortunate to be the head coach in this fabulous community.
Oh my gosh, you're so lucky. What about the kids? What about some of the men? Have you had any? Obviously, you don't have to say their names. Have you had any come to you that have just really struggled through this and are like finally coming out of it? Anybody?
Yeah, last year we had a couple issues, and you know, you don't realize, you know, just how lonely it is when you got to go into quarantine and you know, you don't know what you don't know. Like your body, like I caught COVID, you know, after season, and I didn't understand what they were going through until I caught it. You know, I was in my bed catching chills and just couldn't. I wasn't myself.
Right.
And even afterwards, couldn't catch my breath the way I normally could, and so a lot of things go in your mind that make you start thinking crazy.
Because you're alone too.
Yeah, because you're alone. So when our guys were in quarantine, we were making sure that we were, trying to keep them engaged with Zoom and just they were part of the meetings and everything.
Oh,
just
good.
Just trying to stay in touch with them.
And how are they now, health-wise? How are we doing physically ready for the season?
So far, everybody's good.
Ooh.
Everybody's good. We had one casualty last year at the end of the year. Aiden Prukop, unfortunately, tore his ACL in practice, and he's out this year. But he just got cleared to do some running. And
oh, good.
And so he was running today, and we sent him a little caption of "Run, Forrest, run."
Oh,
Forrest Gump
that's
running.
so cool. So next up, you're playing North Dakota State here. You have a 2:00 game.
Yes.
On Friday. You don't do many day games.
No, that was the only day. This is a return game, and still from the last staff.
Oh, okay.
We got bumped to this year because of COVID. Last year, it got wiped out. So the only day that they can come out here and fit was this Friday. But volleyball already had a game because they're in season, and they're volleyball.
It happens.
Yeah, so they had a 7:00 game, so we had to do ours at 2, which is fine. We practice at 2 every single day, so I told the guys, hey, it's just like, just like practice. So
the women do that on purpose. Coach Faith does a couple day games for the students. Are you gonna? Do you think you're gonna fill up with kids? That's really
That's
cool.
what we tried to do. We went to Teach Elementary across the street, and we told the kids that and the teachers, like, if we'll let the kids in for free.
So great.
Parents got to pay, but kids can come in for free.
Yeah.
So trying to get a lot of kids in the stands.
I don't know if you've been to any of those games when it's the different sound. Like, it's a different pitch.
Right. Right.
It's fun and it's energetic, but because they have higher voices.
Right.
And they're screaming the whole time.
Exactly.
It's so
My
cool.
first year, I saw Faith in them game, and they had the after-school programs there, and it was crazy.
Yeah. You mentioned Faith earlier, and you've been at a lot of programs where you've worked alongside a women's coach, and you said how special she is. It's such, you can't even describe her out in the world because she's so shy.
Yes.
Okay, so if you don't know her, you might think she's kind of grumpy and stubborn.
Right.
She is stubborn, but she is shy and one of the most down to earth, thoughtful, loving human beings I've ever met in this business.
Yes.
Ever.
So genuine and so kind-hearted. Just a warming soul. She sometimes. Well, my first year, I struggled a little bit with everything, and I sat in her office, and she just looked at me and was like, it's going to be okay. You know how she talks. John, you're doing a fabulous job. You're fine. And I was like, you know what, Faith? Thank you.
She's so great. She's so great.
Yeah.
We're lucky to have her. That's for sure.
We are.
And we're lucky to have you. And I am, when Giovanetti sent me a message, he goes, do you want him in studio? I'm like, duh. I started freaking out. I'm going to have a guest in studio. And I said, yeah, in studio, anytime. Well, if that's what you want. Yeah, that's what I want. So thank you for coming in studio, because I know practices.
For you, CJ.
Well, I appreciate you. And we're so fortunate to have you. I wish you the best. Your energy, the love of the game, the way you exude acceptance with everyone. It's just, we are really, really lucky to have you here at Cal Poly.
Well, thank you. I appreciate
so much.
that, CJ.
Good luck this weekend and enjoy the Louisville game. I will be at that game. It's hard for me to, with Hancock football going on still, because I'm their announcer.
That's right.
It's like,
that's right.
It's hard for me to get it out, but during the week I can go. So that's helpful.
Well, I will see you there.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, CJ.
Really appreciate you.
Anytime.
John Smith, head coach of the Cal Poly Mustangs. You can hear them right here on ESPN Radio 1280 all season long. This coming Friday, it's a 2:00 game, unexpected but super cool, against North Dakota. Be here, right here on ESPN Radio 1280, and follow the Mustangs all season long. Coming up, a little bit more about Cal Poly Athletics. You're listening to the CJ Silas Show on ESPN Radio 1280 AM and FM 101.7, The Ticket.
Now, back to the CJ Silas Show on ESPN Radio 1280, The Ticket.
Welcome back to the CJ Silas Show. Just as the commercial's ending, my intern Gabe is telling Coach Smith that if he needs an extra body... Listen, you can't ask coaches when they come in to be guests on the show if you could be on their team.
No. I told him, let me know when you need an extra body.
Oh, my gosh. I love that. It is the CJ Silas Show. Coach John Smith, I'm telling you, I want that team to win. I want that team to win so much that he never leaves Cal Poly. I want John Smith to retire as the Cal Poly Mustang head coach. He is such a high-quality person. We are so lucky to have him here with the Cal Poly Mustangs. And I say that lightly with other coaches when they're here, and there are some that we're very lucky, but John Smith is more than just the basketball coach at Cal Poly. The human that has come to this town as the head coach of the Cal Poly Mustang basketball team and how he's pretty much engulfed himself into the community, it's just been incredible. Incredible. And I'm lucky I was here to see it because I didn't know I'd be here this long. And I'm happy to. And I'm proud that he will come in and join the CJ Silas Show. The Cal Poly Sports Update. Cal Poly football lost to Sac State 41-9. They're now 1-8. 0-6 in Big Sky play. Spencer Brash, 19 of 26, 225 yards. Hey, by the way, I've got 2 tickets. I was trying to tell you guys that, but you were talking to Coach Smith before he got on the air. We have 2 Cal Poly football tickets. 2 Cal Poly football tickets. If you want them for this Saturday, it's a 5 o'clock game. They're on the house. They're on me. I've got them. I can't use them. I've got a game at Hancock. 805-595-3776. 805-595-3776. J.J. Koski, former Cal Poly Mustang, signed off the practice squad a year and a half. He was on the practice squad for the Rams. He played in his first game this past weekend. He had a 7-yard punt return, and he had 12 catches in the preseason. When he was at Poly, he had 121 catches, 2,311 yards, and 18 touchdowns. And now he's the number 4 or 5 wide receiver on the depth chart for the Rams. If you want those tickets, 805-595-3776. I've got 1 pair of Cal Poly football tickets for this weekend, Idaho State. Volleyball lost at CSUN. Tommy Stockham had 26 kills. They're still 3rd place in the Big West after beating Santa Barbara 3-1. It was a blocking machine against the Gauchos, a season high 15 blocks. Next up, they're hosting Davis on Friday, and Coach Smith was talking about that, and then Riverside on Saturday. Redshirt freshman Tommy Stockham, who I just mentioned, is the Big West Offensive Player and Freshman of the Week. Women's basketball, they routed Cal State San Bernardino 81-57. Kirsty Brown, 19 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. They open up their season today at Santa Clara. Wrestling at Michigan State Invitational, Evan Wick and Luca Wick, the brothers, one won the 165-pound category and the other the 149. Next up, they have a duel against San Francisco State on the 20th. Men's basketball, we just talked to Coach Smith. They beat Cal State LA in an exhibition game, and then they beat Westcliff, and they, 86-53 next up. North Dakota State on Friday. Men's and women's swimming, Gennady Sitnik won 2 individual events against Cal Baptist. Women and men both won 7 events overall. Next up, they're at the USC Invitational. Golf, Phil Rowe will be the coach of the men's international team for the 2022 Arnold Palmer Cup. It's a team made up of student athletes, and that tournament will go on in July. Allen Hancock College men's basketball lost to Porterville. Next up, they won against Hartnell. Women's basketball beat Solano. Women's soccer ended their home season a scoreless draw against Moore Park. Next up, they're ending their season at Oxnard this Friday. Football, Allen Hancock College, number 15. It's their 4th straight week in the top 15. No game last week due to COVID issues. We were supposed to play, Hancock was supposed to play at Long Beach City this week. The final home game of the year for the Bulldogs, a 1 o'clock kickoff against Bakersfield. You can watch that game at athletics.hancockcollege.edu and hear my sweet little voice. Cuesta Wrestling, Joe Dansby was inducted into the California Chapter Hall of Fame of the National Wrestling. He coached also at Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo. Women's soccer loses to Pierce. They're number 11 in the state. Next up, they're at number 12, Ventura. Volleyball lost to number 5, Bakersfield. They're now 12-9, and they're playing at Moore Park tonight. Men's basketball at Cuesta opened their season with a win over De Anza by 1 point. They're hosting a big tournament this weekend. Allen Hancock College will be there at Cuesta this Friday and Saturday. Don't forget to go to social media. Go to Instagram. Put together your Thanksgiving thankful list. Your top 3 to 5 things from 2021. The best list will win the November CJ Silas Show swag. Kobe posters, Laker championship posters, CJ trucker hats, CJ baseball hats. We still have that Corey Seager MVP bobblehead. By the way, if you want those tickets, the phones are ringing. 805-595-3776. The interns haven't picked them up yet, but the first person that calls or gets picked up gets to win those tickets against Idaho State this weekend. Come on, is it the last 2 more games this year? I think it might be the last home game. Maybe no, there's one more next week. Yeah, there's one more next week. Don't forget, it is a big NFL show next week. Qadri Ismail. He works at and owns the Missile Training Academy outside of Baltimore. He is a Super Bowl champion and now works for the Ravens broadcast crew. He will be on the show next week to talk NFL midseason report. I'm going to turn off my mic now, make an appointment to listen every Wednesday night, 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern. I am out.
Thanks for listening to The CJ Silas Show. Find her podcast on thecjsilashshow.com. Follow her on all social media platforms, including her YouTube channel. Make an appointment to listen every Wednesday on ESPN Radio 1280 AM and FM 101.7. CJ out.